Hi guys, my name is Gerald Parker, and on this video I'm going to be giving you all the reasons you should absolutely learn Go. You're watching this video, so I can only assume that either you're completely new to programming, you're trying to figure out what language you should learn first, or maybe you're an experienced developer and you're trying to figure out what you should add to your tool set. Or maybe you clicked on this video by accident. Maybe you have no idea what Go is. Whatever it is, it actually doesn't matter because Go is a great language to learn regardless of your skill level. There are a ton of resources, it's easy to pick up and to learn, and there are plenty of opportunities for people out there who are willing to learn it. There are a ton of companies that are building their applications in Go and they're looking for skilled developers. In fact, I use Go on a daily basis in my job as a cloud engineer at Cisco. However, in 2016, I was not a cloud engineer. In fact, I was a pediatric sales rep. And it was at that time that I started to teach myself programming and really study it pretty seriously. My first big project was actually building this crazy football machine that was capable of tracking users, and it was programmable. And it was through that process that I learned a few different languages. And I had just started to scratch the surface of Go when I got a job at Siemens. Eventually I was promoted to a cloud engineer using Go, and now, as I mentioned, I'm working at Cisco using Go. I was able to do all of this within a relatively short period of time for two reasons. The first was that I developed good study habits that allowed me to pick up new tools and technologies relatively quickly. The second was that I made thoughtful, informed decisions when it came to the languages that I actually wanted to learn. In fact, I watched videos just like this one. So why should you learn Go? The reasons to learn Go fall in one of three categories. One would be the features of Go. Two, I would say, is the state of Go, by which I mean the community, the resources, the adoption, what does the outlook look like for the programming language. And then three is, what can it actually do for you? What can it give you that would help you and prepare you to learn other tools and technologies within software? So, what are the features of Go? Well, in order to understand the features of any programming language or any technology for that matter, it's typically good to understand what's the problem that it was created to solve. And so the origins of Go go back to 2007. It was actually started and created by three engineers at Google. At the time, Google had a massive code base, which I'm sure they still do. But the problem was that whenever they wanted to make changes, they needed to compile it. And for anyone who's new to programming, compiling is just the process of, converting human readable code to code that the computer can actually understand. But the issue is that if you've got a large code base, sometimes this can take a really long time, up to an hour sometimes. And obviously that's not good for productivity. So there were three engineers there that took it upon themselves to create a programming language that addressed their needs. And Go was born out of that idea. When they created it, they wanted it to have a few characteristics, a few features that they knew would make it easy for them to use. And all of it was really based around simplicity and speed. They wanted a language that had fast compilation. They wanted a language that was easy to write and to read. They thought it should be able to do multiple things at once, which is called concurrency. And if you do learn Go, you'll hear that term used again and again. They wanted a language that was able to take advantage of the capabilities of modern computers. And what I mean by that is, obviously over time, computers have become more and more powerful. But just because you have a powerful computer doesn't mean that your programs and applications will magically run more smoothly. In fact, the application developers have to write the code in a way that takes advantage of a more powerful computer and the resources that it provides. And so there are some languages that make that easier than others, and Go is a language that does do that. And the reason I'm doing this tutorial today is because Go is absolutely all of those things. It's easy to learn, it's amazingly simplistic. In addition, it's got both garbage collection and concurrency. So it's got the features. But what about the state of Go? What about the community? And this is a tip for anyone who's learning programming for the first time. The community behind a programming language or a technology, that is just as important as anything else. In fact, maybe I'd say that's even more important, because that will determine really how much you enjoy it. And what I mean by that is, if you were to pick a language or a technology that did not have a big community, that was not experiencing high adoption, inevitably you're going to hit a snag. That's true for any technology that you're learning. And you're going to go online, you're going to try to find resources, articles, books, YouTube videos, and it's going to be tough to find the answers to the specific problem that you have. And so you want to make sure that when you pick up a new technology, that there's some type of movement, some type of community behind it, because it's just going to help you become that much more efficient. The sharing of ideas is really important when it comes to technologies being adopted. And so Go has a large community behind it. A good resource to learn about just the state of programming languages in general is actually JetBrains. JetBrains is the company responsible for developing a number of popular IDEs for various programming languages. And for the past 4 years, they've conducted what they call a developer ecosystem survey. And they do this with the purpose of identifying the latest trends around tools, technologies, and programming languages. And in 2020, they surveyed about 20,000 developers. 19% of those developers reported using Go within the last 12 months. Now, you may be thinking 19% of 20,000 is actually pretty good. Or, if you took a closer look at the web page, you may have noticed that Go is actually in 12th place, and maybe you're thinking, what's so good about 12th place? Well, I think you should consider this. When it comes to usage, every other language ahead of Go, with the exception of TypeScript, was released at least 9 years before Go. In tech years, that's like 63 or something like that. As far as TypeScript by definition is JavaScript for application scale development. So there's no question that the adoption of TypeScript directly benefits from the large amount of JavaScript developers. And while Golang is ranked 12th in usage, it ranks number 1 for the number of developers planning to adopt or migrate to the language. That in part is fueled by the fact that a ridiculous amount of companies are migrating their applications over to the cloud, and Go is an excellent candidate to aid in that migration. There's a chance that Go might be helped by the fact that reputable sites like Upwork and Business Insider have Go ranked as the second highest paying programming language. But nobody's learning Go for the money, right? In addition to the statistics that you can find on the web, all you have to do is Google Go and you'll be flooded with books, articles, tutorials, videos, questions, you name it. And that's because the Go community is alive and well, and there's a future in it. But what does that future mean to you? If you remember, I talked about the features of Go: garbage collection, concurrency, fast compilation times. While Go might be unique in how it achieves these things, these concepts are not unique to any specific programming language. So a language that is easy to learn and teaches you these concepts, that's definitely a plus. Now, I also mentioned that there are a number of companies adopting Go in order to move their existing applications over to the cloud. In fact, that's probably Go's biggest use case. Learning Go will put you in a position that exposes you to more cloud-based technologies. What this all means is that there's never been a better time to learn Go. All you have to do is start. You have to start somewhere, and this YouTube video, this channel right here, is a great place. What you're looking at is the first video of a brand new Go tutorial series that I'll be launching at the end of this month, and it'll be going well into 2021. I'll not only be teaching the fundamentals of Go, but along the way, I'll be giving tips and advice based on how I learned programming languages and how I was able to work my way into the software industry. So please subscribe to this video, like if you actually learned something, and I hope to see you guys on the first video, Intro to Go.